What's going on, family? Grace and peace. This is your host, Javon Blue, on the Kingdom Talks podcast, where we're going to be talking about God, business, trading, manhood, marriage, and all the real stuff that's happening out there. So listen, sit back, relax, open up your Bibles, open up your notebooks, whatever you got to do, and let's get it. Sheesh, let's go. What up? What is going on, family? Grace and peace to my believers. And peace to my kings and queens that are out there. This is the Kingdom Talks podcast, and I am your host, Javon Blue. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody that is tuning in. As you guys know, I'm always excited. Even if the day isn't going good, I'm always excited because this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. So this is a bonus episode, family. I know we just came off the manhood series, but this is a bonus episode because just like a lot of people have been talking about the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock situation. I mean, it wasn't even a Chris Rock situation, excuse me. It was a Will Smith situation, right? And I just want to talk about it because it would just, it wouldn't be right for my audience not to get, my views on this, my perspectives in this, because I do have people on here that like to hear my perspective on things, which I am honored, but you take it how you want to take it. I'm going to always give my truth and my opinions, and basically what certain scriptures say about certain things. I like to keep the word into everything that I say. So with that being said, family, there's a few things that I want to touch on, and I'm not going to be long, but it's going to be powerful. Just, coming off the manhood series, for those individuals that have listened to it. If you have not listened to the manhood series, please go and listen to that, especially if you are a man, a boy coming into a man going into being a husband, whatever the case may be. Take a listen at that, and we're going to get into it, right? So this one, I don't even know what to call it. It's probably already in the title. I'm probably just going to call it Will Smith. But I want to come from a few points that I seen on there. Now, what I didn't see the Oscars live, right? And honestly, they said, prior to this, the Oscars ratings been down like 58% or something over the past couple of years. And, ratings skyrocket after this event, because that was it. So I don't even watch the Oscars. I could care less about the Oscars, but I do love movies. I don't know why I don't watch the Oscars, but I do love movies. I am a movie fan, and I love them with everything in my being. Like, it's nothing like a good movie. So shout out to all of the actors that got their awards on that night and got that recognition. Now, what happened at the Oscars was something called the smack heard around the world, right? So, as you know, Will Smith was literally sitting in front, like he was front row with it. Him and Jada was sitting front row at the Oscars, amongst other phenomenal actors out there. And Chris Rock I believe he was the host of the Oscars. And, Chris Rock is a comedian. Will Smith is a comedian. This is the comedian world. So what he's doing is he's being a comedian while he's up there. So Chris Rock says a joke about Jada, right? And Chris Rock and the Smiths know each other. Like, they have a personal relationship. From what I've heard and what I've seen through pictures and different stuff that Will even said, they have that relationship, right? So Chris Rock was up there, and he said something about G.I. Jane 2, referring to Jada's short haircut. She's bald now, not completely bald, but she shaved off her hair based on her medical condition. Now, she has a medical condition called alopecia. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, please excuse me. Don't want to offend anybody if they do have it. But what that medical condition is, it's a form of hair loss. Like you're losing a lot of your hair, right? And it gets to the point where you can't even fight. Like you got to cut it off. And then some people even, put like, they go to the doctors do steroids, to bring back the hair growth, or they have some type of other stuff that they do where they can try to bring the hair back. But as far as Jada just cut her hair off. Now, if you didn't know that, that is why she has a low haircut. Chris Rock makes a joke about that haircut, and he refers it to G.I. Jane 2. Can't wait for that to come out. And as you're looking at the video, Will Smith is laughing, Chris Rock is laughing, the crowd is laughing, but Jada has this face on her. And when I tell you, listen, when I seen her face in this video, I said, yo, it was like, as a married man, it was like, whoa, like that's not a face you overlook. That was a face of pain. That was a face of embarrassment. That was a face of challenge. And when Chris Rock said that, it hit Jada. But now you're going to hear people say, well, Will was laughing and such and such. Now, my thing is this. Will was laughing through a whole bunch of jokes. Why? Because Will is funny, but Will laughs too because he understands jokes. He understands being a comedian, but he just has a good spirit like that. You guys get what I'm saying? So he was laughing as far as the jokes prior to that. And then we see him actually laughing at the joke. Now, this is my opinion. My opinion is Will was laughing prior to like every joke before the G.I. Jane joke towards Jada that Chris Rock gave. And it was like, if you guys ever just been in an environment of laughter, it's like you just, like you just keep on laughing because it's just the environment and it's just the culture in that moment. So my thing is Will kept on going. Like Will was laughing from a joke prior, and then we still see him laughing. Now, I don't think he processed that joke yet. Looking at his wife and then just looking at Will, he had the laughter face, but he was dying down. And what I mean by that is you looked in his face, and even like other people seen smiling and different stuff like that, but it was something else. Like, nah, not this time. And when I believe, like, we don't see it far as the camera, but I believe when he looked over to his wife, everything changed for him. So based off of that, Will gets up after the joke, leaves his seat, and he smacks the crap out of Chris Rock's face. So he leaves off this is like live. So he leaves off the stage. He comes back and he sits down, and Chris Rock is like, wow, really, dude? Like, and Will Smith is like, yo, keep my wife's name out, blank mouth, out your mother effing mouth, right? So he's saying that, and Will said yes, basically confirming that's what I said. And then he says it louder, keep my wife's name out your blank mouth. You guys know what I'm saying? So that was the whole thing, and is leading us to this podcast right now, this episode. So, you're looking on Facebook and people are debating, hey, do you think Will was right for smacking Chris? Do you think he was a coward? Do you think he was a punk for doing that? Oh, is he standing his ground, defending his woman? There's all types of talks out there. And I'm going to say my perspective building up to it. If was it right? Was it wrong? Whatever the case may be. But I want to, just acknowledge what has happened. But here's my thing on this, right? I'm going to put this out there. Defending your wife is necessary. It's not an option, right? There are people that say, oh, well, you know, he reacted after seeing his wife. Okay, who cares? If I know, because my wife is her own person, and maybe some things might not affect me, but they affect her because of what she's going through, because she has her own walk. If that happens, guess what? It's now coming down to me, which means my reaction towards how my wife feels is a big deal, right? Now, if you're not married, you don't understand this, because I've seen a lot of non-married people commenting on certain things. Oh, well, you know, Jada ain't, you know, she out there getting dug out by August Alsina. She out there loving Tupac. She ain't no good wife. Da, da, da. Listen, if you're not married, don't speak on it, because I'm going to tell you this. Jada did what she did, and she, you know, she had her moments, and I don't know what they're doing in their marriage behind closed doors to cope with that or heal from that. But let me tell you something right now. Shout out to Will, because he's still with her. There's a lot of people out here, and this kingdom talk, so we're going to talk heavy. It's a lot of people out here, and I can tell by the way people respond based off what their wives are doing, based off what their husbands are doing, right? There's a lot of people out here that ain't man enough, that ain't woman enough, that's not committed enough to still stay in the marriage, even though you're in a season of disappointment that you don't even agree with. When you gave your vows, you said, yo, listen, whether I don't care for sickness or health, the good or the bad, to death do us part, I'm with you. See, a lot of people want to be good with the marriage when it's going good. A lot of people want to stay in the marriage when everything is flowing. But the reason why you quit is because you're not committed to this thing. You didn't make a covenant with the Most High when you committed to marrying this other person. So I want to say, shout out to Will for still being a husband to his wife, even though she was in another man's bed, even though she was wild and she was doing what, you know, she was doing. And maybe she was going through a time where she was hurt, because I remember on the Red Table Talk, she was saying, listen, it was a time where Will was he was chasing the whole new age, you know, esoteric type situation. And Will went through this whole other spiritual world. Right. I believe a lot of demons into Will. I believe Will got into a lot of witchcraft with all these, you know, this Hinduism and mystic stuff. Like he went to Africa or something like that. Dude, listen, bro, a lot. So all of that is a journey that Jada wasn't ready for, that she was foreign to. So we don't know what those repercussions came about with. Like we don't know that. And that's why I tell people, listen, if you ain't married, don't speak on no married person's household. Even married people not supposed to be speaking on another married person's household. And that's an understanding there. But even, you know, if you are married, you can talk about a situation, but you don't talk about the household. You don't talk about the marriage. And this is a spiritual thing. It's not written in the book, but it's a spiritual thing that you know when you've made a covenant with somebody. So shout out to Will for doing that. So my point number one, defending your wife is necessary, is not an option. It's not an option, right? Number two, the spiritual connections of a husband and a wife, right? There's a spiritual connection there. Right now, I don't know how their marriage is. I don't know, but I know they're married. The Bible says, listen, when you lie down with that other one, listen, those two will become one flesh. So when you get married and you have sex, you have become one flesh. That's that commitment. So you take on that spiritual connection. You take on everything of that person. So when people are saying, oh, well, I don't think Will need to be standing up for Jada because Jada don't stand up for Will, yada, yada, yada. Listen, I need y'all to understand they've been married for years. They had the good, the bad, the I don't knows, I'm out of like, yo, they are two actors in Hollywood that got married and they're still together. Shout out to that. Because you got people getting married that's not even in Hollywood, living an average basic life, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, off on the weekends, and can't last 3 to 5 years. Oh, man, this ain't it for me. I'm about to go get a divorce. What? You ain't committed. But there's a spiritual connection. There's a one flesh, one spirit, one sound, one movement when you are married. So it doesn't matter what happened prior to the Oscars. There's a spiritual connection that happens. And that is why Jada's face was the way it was when Chris Rock said what she said. And then we see Will reacting after that when he sees his wife's face. Right? So I want to make another point. My third point is August. A lot of people say, well, you know, why didn't Will act the same way towards August that he did to Chris Rock? He should have been slapping August Alsina. August Alsina out there digging out his wife, yada, yada, yada. They having sex. They got a whole entanglement, as Jada called it. Here's the truth of the matter. August was after the fact, right? Will ain't know nothing about that. And that already happened. Right? So when we see Chris Rock, Will reacted because that was what was in front of him at the moment. August was not happening in front of him. He didn't walk into his house and seen his wife sleeping with another man. Because I'm pretty sure, West Philly would have came out right then and there. But guess what? That he wasn't in that moment. So those are two different like conversations when we're talking about August and we're talking about Chris Rock. Will is still healing from that. Now, I will say this. Will been through a lot the last couple of years, y'all. That man found out his wife had a whole entanglement with another man on live TV. Like, not live TV, but you guys know what I mean. The Red Table Talk with Jada, yada, yada, yada. He had to go through that. We seen a grown man cry on TV. And after seeing this grown man cry, what society did was make him a meme. Instead of having compassion, instead of being a man and, you know, other men within the world coming to comfort this man, we as a society made a meme out of his what's the word? Out of his hurt. And we laughed at that. So he getting laughed at. He's becoming a meme. His wife just said, I've been in entanglement with another man. I'm still in love with Tupac. Like all this other stuff. This man is hurting, coping. He's going through something where he doesn't know what to do and he doesn't know how to feel. So men heal differently than women do. The healing you don't know how the healing process is going to basically turn out because he's healing. And that goes for any person though, right? Everybody's healing process is different. So I can't judge a person's healing process. All I can do is understand it and pray for them or pray with them. Right? So we don't understand Will's healing process. And this one I'm like, this man been through too much. His wife out here, they looking at Will like, you ain't being the man. You should have left that woman. You should have bust August Alsina in the mouth. Like he going through all of this. Right? So you have to understand that. So you got a broken man, a healing man, a hurting man sitting down, still playing the part of comedian Will. And you know, he's having success. We know Will has massive success, but all of this is going through him still playing his role as Will Smith. And he's at the Oscars on the front row with his wife Jada. Now, this is my thing, family. Will goes up, smacks him because keep my wife's name out your mouth. And I want to speak to the married men, and I want to speak to the non-married men, and I want to speak to the women. Guys, let me tell you something. I don't care what's going on in the marriage. Don't ever. I don't care if it's a joke, if we cool, whatever the case may be, because this is where Chris Rock messed up. Because if y'all was truly friends, it don't matter if he's a comedian, y'all cool, y'all be, doing a whole lot of kickback at the cribs, whatever the case may be. Hey, yo, my brother going through something right now. In his life, he's going through a journey of healing, coping, hurting, all that mixed up. Here's the thing, family, don't ever write this down if you need to. Don't ever joke or talk about a man's wife when he is in front of her. All right, I'm going to say that. Don't talk about a man's wife. I don't care if you joking. It does not matter. Don't talk about a man's wife when you are in front of him. So if you ask me, bro, Will did what he needed to do in that moment that he felt like he was protecting his family in that moment. Because don't get it twisted. They got children together. You think their children not looking at how daddy responded? Nah, dad, what's up? Like, they talk about moms that, like, boom, I bet. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember his son tweeted, yeah, that's how we do it over here. Now, that was a proud moment. Whether you thought it was right or wrong, his son seen something in his father. And it was a protective action. It was a protective role. But don't ever disrespect, even if you don't think it's disrespect. Don't ever talk, and that's why I said talk. Don't ever talk about a man's woman in front of him. I don't even care if it's a cool situation. Because you don't know what they're going through. And you don't know what that man is dealing with, where he could literally flip. Even if the conversation is cool, that man can literally flip in 2 seconds because you don't know what's happening in the marriage. Keep the woman out of it, bro. Just stay away. So when he slapped him, he did what he thought was best for his family in that moment. Now, I want to speak to the people that's like, oh my God, Chris Rock should have pressed charges. Will need to get arrested. This, that, and the third. Bro, let me tell you something. And I said this to a couple of people. I said, this society, we are so foreign to manhood and masculinity that when it happens, we don't even know what to do. We don't even know how to react. Why am I about to call the cops or lock somebody up because another man hit somebody based off what he said? Here's my thing. That man felt like he needed to do it, right? Because of, you're speaking on my marriage. See, this ain't had nothing to do with Will, and I think people getting this messed up. Chris Rock ain't talk about Will. He talked about his wife. As a married man, I truly understand how my man is feeling, Even if I didn't think the joke was worth doing that, okay, my wife though. Everything changes in that moment. My wife. Babe, oh nah. Keep my wife's name out your mouth, bro. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. You see how she feel? I don't even gotta go into all that. Keep my wife's name out your mouth, bro. And from that, we see an understanding happen. Just because another man punch another man or slap another man, that don't mean, oh my God, what are we gonna do now? He did the worst thing in the world, bro. It was a slap. You don't gotta call the cops. You ain't gotta do this. You ain't gotta do none of that. Like, when you see stuff like that, notice, especially for the black community, no killing was involved. Ain't nobody get shot. No guns was pulled. We don't even see threats after the event. We actually see Will apologizing. You know, he going through it. He still stayed there. Will ain't even leave the Oscars. He sat back down through the whole entire show. That's how we know. Listen, it ain't even that deep. Ain't nobody get killed. Ain't no threats. Ain't nobody coming after nobody's family. I'm pretty sure they moved on. Like, it's not that much to be digging to. So when Will Smith checked Chris Rock, yo, that's between them. As men, let them handle that. Right? Nobody getting shot. Nobody getting killed. Yo, we good, bro. Listen, I felt some type of way. I had to check you on that. How you respond? Listen, we could do it either way, but I'm just letting you know what I feel. And it's like nowadays, men are just so passive because, oh my God, you see what the women saying. We see what the LGBTQ community is saying. We see, you know, what the feminizing community. Like, it's so, bro, let that man be a man to another man, yo, and let them figure that out. Right? So when you're looking past the laugh that he did, like, you got to look past that and into the eyes of this man's heart. It doesn't matter. See, to him, it doesn't matter what my wife did to me. I'm still here and I'm still going to defend her. Point blank, period. Point blank. So as men, it's our job, like even going into this, as men, it's our job to protect our women. But as a husband, yo, you ain't got no option, bro. You ain't got no option. Because Will Smith ain't going back home with Chris Rock. He going back home with his wife. So I'm about to wrap this up, right? Definitely want to leave it with some scripture. Not saying Will saved this, that, and the third, but this is my understanding for those individuals that are out there that are about to get married, that are in marriage, and different stuff like that. I want to come from Ephesians 5 now. We heard this in the Manhood series, but it's a good point so y'all can see this, right? Not only see it, understand it. So watch this. Ephesians 5, verse 25. It says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her to make her holy, cleansing her with the washing of the water by the word. I want you guys to understand this right here. Just as Christ loved the church, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave his life to her. It's a husband's job to love his wife and die for her. See, but we don't. When a husband defends his wife, now we gotta critique. We gotta talk about everything. Like, oh my God, he just did yo, bro, love your wife. What was the love? Oh, he seen his wife. He felt her compassion. He felt compassionate about what it is he seen. He felt that it was a spiritual connection. Husband, love your wives. Guess what? Just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her, died for her. Guess what? Will, yo, deny yourself, deny your feelings, and go defend. It's time to go to work for your wife. Right? So verse 27 says he did this to present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or anything like that, but holy and blameless. Now watch what verse 28 says. It says, in the same way, husbands are to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hates his own flesh, but provides and cares for it, just as Christ does for the church, since we are members of his bodies. I need you guys to understand. It says husbands are to love their wives as their own bodies. And I'm about to end it right here. When we're looking at another man, a husband, defending his wife, yo, he's loving her in that moment as he would want to be loved. So when we're seeing that, I need you to understand, family. Now, could Will do another option? Could he go outside and talk to Chris after maybe he could. But that man did what he needed to do for his wife and his family in that moment. And it did not lead to a death. It was another man checking another man. That's it. And in that, it's like, yo, this is how I felt about it, bro. You can respond how you want to respond, but this is how I'm responding. It is what it is. Was it right? Was it wrong? Listen, both of them were right. That's my answer. Both of them were right. Right? And I would even go to say that both of them were wrong too. Because we can flip, there's two sides to everything. I would say Will was right for defending his wife. Chris Rock was right for saying the joke. Why? Because y'all are comedians. So, Chris, ain't nothing really off limits. You a comedian, Will a comedian. It's an understanding. So there's nothing wrong with what you said, Chris. But at the same time, there was nothing right with it either. But you are a comedian, Will's a comedian. So it makes it right, but Will is also right too. Because if you say a joke, if you do anything in life, there's a repercussion coming out of it. Something's going to happen after that. So, guys, I'm going to just say this. This was just a bonus episode. I said I was going to be short. It turned out to be 30 minutes. Still a good podcast. But another thing that I want to highlight on is how, shout out to Denzel Washington. Shout out to Tyler Perry, because I seen in a video of them pulling Will to the side and speaking with him. And this is going into manhood as well. That is what we need to do as brothers. That is what we need to do as men. We don't need no women up there patting our backs. No. Men, go run up there and go talk to your brother. He hurting. So when I seen that, I said, see, these are solid men who've been in the industry, who's been in Hollywood for a long time, who understand success, the heights of it, the lows of it. They understand, but more importantly, they understand pain, they understand hurt, and they understand being a man. And what we seen right there was something that we need to see more of. We need to see that happening. We need to see other men being there for other men. And that was just a beautiful sight. Shout out to my black brothers. Shout out to the men out there that really covered Will. Right. And that's what we need to see. So more importantly, I would say we need to pray for Will. He is battling spiritual warfare right now. I can see it. And we got to pray. We got to pray. Right. We don't need to speak down and all see this. Listen, believers, you already know. Pray for that man. Go to the throne and pray for that man so that Jesus can be in his life and the Holy Spirit can save him and give him the peace that surpasses all understanding. Will Smith needs Jesus. And he knows he needs him. He now needs discipleship, though. So that's my take on it. So, family, I love you guys. This was a bonus episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any comments, if you want to hit me up, listen, hit up my Instagram. It's Javon Blue, or hit me up on Facebook at Javon Blue. It's a lot of scam pages out there, but this is why I'm giving you guys my handles, and it's going to be in the description below. So you can definitely click the links to that and ask me a question if need be, if you want to talk about some things. So that being said, family, everybody have an amazing night, amazing day, whatever time that you're watching this, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Let's get it. Yo, what up, Kingdom family? Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Listen, I want you to hit up the block, hit up your job, hit up your family, your campus, your friends, whatever the case may be. Send them this episode. Let them know what we got going on. And I will see you guys on the next one. Let's get it.